Welcome back to Career Nuggets, the career development show exploring issues within the UK employment sector. Today's topic is how to break into the marketplace as a young graduate. So as you know, I'm joined in the studio by Michael Olagunju, David Blackwood and Enio Shonaike. We have heard some of their views, now it's time to hear some of yours. The question was, what are the main challenges young graduates face when venturing into the workplace? Tom from Essex said, they're so unprepared. They need to grow up a bit. Michael, what do you have to say to respond to that?
Part of me quite agrees with that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, when I say unprepared, I don't. When he says unprepared, you know, it could come from the fact that they're just not, you know, really paying attention to whatever marketplace they're trying to get into, right? Or it could come from the fact that they've just, had a lack of exposure to it. I went to a sixth form where we didn't know about all these spring internship schemes or anything like that. So, at that time, it really wasn't my fault that I was unprepared. But I mean, when he says grow up, he said grow up, right?
Yeah, grow up a bit.
Grow up a bit. I mean, yeah, what it is that once we go to school for a long time in our lives and we get so comfortable with a particular regime and, although school was uncomfortable for us, we're comfortable with the idea of waking up at at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock to get to school for 9 o'clock, finish at 5 o'clock, and it just becomes, a routine. Even whether we like it or not, we sort of get accustomed to that. And same thing with uni. You go to uni and you get used to a timetable. However, when you leave uni, that's that's just you. You do whatever you want to do. You become your own person, literally. I mean, and you become an adult. You're now into the the real world, and it's just you alone. And you have to grow up. You have to get out of the uni mentality. I have to wake up at this time. I have a lecture now.
So you're really agreeing with Tom then?
In some sense, I think that we need to, us guys as youth, we need to see that everything's, what we want is not going to come to our place. We have to go and get it. All
right, thank you. Let's see what Suzanne from Stevenage stated. It's tough for young people, as there are also older people going for the same jobs. David, do you want to say that?
The whole age equality thing, I mean, that's been going on for a long time, that debate. The fact is we are now in a recovering economy, and the recovering economy, the appetite to recruit graduates increases. So don't worry about the older generation. I think you need to take accountability and responsibility for your own job search and treat your job search like a job. Yeah. Like Michael said, get up early, do your research. If you have an interview, who is that business? Who are you meeting? What's their background? What's the performance of that company like? And I think once you get into that kind of mentality and that frame of mind, success is imminent. It's a case of when rather than if. Brilliant,
thank you. And finally, we have David from France. And he said, these days, young people are made to work too hard by a lot of employers because employers know that everyone wants a job, so they take advantage. Eni?
Yeah, that's true in some instances, I think, but it's very dependent on what market or what sector you're working in. I'm sure a lot of people that are applying for grad schemes will be applying in the financial sector because that's one of our biggest sectors in this country. And you do hear the stories of people going to work early, leaving late, having to take their clients out to the clubs or whatever, I don't know, and then having to wake up early again the next day. You do hear those stories, you hear about that, but I think it really is dependent on what sector you are. Because I work in marketing and it is very, no 2 days are the same for me. I'm not always in the office. Sometimes I'm seeing clients, sometimes I'm in the office, but I can only talk from my experience. And in my experience, they work you hard, but they also give you decent leeway. But maybe that's just the company I work for, so I can't really speak for everyone.
Okay, thank you about that. So before we went on a break, we were talking about the graduates out there not working in their chosen fields. So I just want us to explore a bit about that. What's hindering people from getting a job? I mean, the graduates, what's hindering them from getting a job? Michael, do you want to have a go?
I mean, one of the things that, was a bit of an obstacle for me was sort of my ego. I was thinking to myself, I've got a first, I have to get a top job, it has to happen, at some point. And, I got offered some other jobs and it was just that pay is just not like, God, first, come on, man. Like, I'm not gonna do that job.
How much was that then that you were turning down? And just out of curiosity, yeah.
How
much job was it that you were turning down?
It was like 20K.
20K. That's a lot of money, you know. You turned it down. Just joking. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just like, nah, not really. Not for me. It's just not my, you know, it's not my dream job, and it's also not really paying that well. I mean, obviously, you know, coming across as a very money motivated guy, but I am, to be honest with you, right? And you know, there was one guy, you know, one of the guys that I met in my, you know, the whole adventure of the placard. One of the guys from Barclays, and he was a director there now. He's running, you know, his own hedge fund. And one thing he told me was, you know, he tried to help me get jobs. They were low on headcount there, so he couldn't recruit me there. And he, you know, the market was just tight. It was just nothing was going on, and people were cutting jobs. And he said, you know what, mate, that job, right, that you don't want to take, just take it. Like, just take it for 6 months, and see, you know, get some experience, get something on your CV, because experience, as you know, David will agree, is just valuable, especially on a CV. You know, academics is one thing. How you're able to apply it in a working environment is another thing. And you know, I took that job with, you know, with his advice, and you know, I can't sit here and tell you I gained, you know, these amazing skills from it, but it was definitely, I definitely think it was another thing added to my CV. Okay. You know, I took another 20K job.
20K, you took it.
I took another 20K job a year. Did that for 6 months. Just to be honest with you, I wasn't really happy to doing it, and you know. But I had always known that, you know, at some point, you know, I will be able to get something on my CV to get a good job.
So where are you now on the pay scale now?
Good.
Do you want to give us a range?
Nah, I'm not going to do that.
Should I say it?
If you want.
But you're doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think what Michael was saying is really important, because humility is a big thing that's stopping people from, hindering people from getting jobs. Because I'm sure, as you were saying, I'm sure there was lots of other graduates that were sold this dream that once you get that first or that 2-1, it's your God-given right to get the best job that's 30K plus, and then in a year you'll be able to get a mortgage. But that's not the reality of it. We all know the economy we're living in, so some people need to not lower the expectations, but go for whatever's there and then aspire to get what they want later on. Mm-hmm. But because of the generation we're in, everyone wants it now and they want it fast, and they're not ready to compromise. They end up without a job rather than a job that's maybe a step behind the job that they want.
Yeah. Thank you. So, David, I just want to still explore this. You know, we've spoken about the different things that can hinder graduates from getting a job, but there are alternative ways, which you touched on. But are there any other things they can do apart from just going for the junior roles in a company? Are there some other things they can do to make themselves attractive to a prospective employer?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few things that you can do to kind of get yourself out there, as it were. And I know we've touched on examples already of, you know, graduates who've gone out there and advertised their CVs on sandwich boards and things like that. But other than that, it's really about developing your network. Now, whether you do some voluntary work,
yes,
and you actually get some experience that way, working for a development organisation or a retail company, whatever it might be, where you can then transfer those skills onto your CV, or whether it be that you take the approach of utilising professional networking sites like LinkedIn, for example, which I'm a massive advocate of. I don't work for LinkedIn, I'm not here to advertise them, but you know, it does have a valid place in terms of the job search, and by connecting with prospective employers that work for the companies that you're interested in, and having discussions and commenting on topical themes that are going on and being published on the site, you could actually you know, end up being approached by someone who's looking to employ someone of your background. So it's all about the network, really.
Thank you very much.
I mean, it's not rocket science that if you've tried something 100 times and it's not working, there must be another way, right? I mean, as you said, you know, networking is just massively key. Like LinkedIn is, you know, definitely big. There was a site called eFinancial Careers that, you know, you could just post your CV on. This was for you know, the finance industry. You could post your CV on and headhunters go on it regularly, stuff. I even did, like, I cold called loads of businesses and stuff, and, you know, a lot of them didn't give me the time of the day, but some of them, you know, were like, okay, send your CV over. Didn't make anything out of it, but, you know, at least they considered me. It was different, just to cold call people and say, hi, I want a job. Like, it's different. Just do something different, that's what I said.
Also, I think doing other things that show your enthusiasm in the business that you want to get into. Like I went to go into a job in marketing, and I was writing blogs about marketing. I created a role in my sports team where I was market assistant, which was me making newsletters and contacting TV shows, and I ended up getting our team on ITV. Just little things like that, so that when I went to apply for jobs, I could say, I want this job. They'll be like, the obvious question they ask you is, why do you want to work in this industry? I'll be like, because I'm really passionate about it. That's the word, that's the keyword everyone uses, of course, isn't it? And then they go, oh, why are you passionate about it? Okay, I'll show you X, Y, and Z. I've done this off my own back. This is not this is not in my university, this is not me internship, this is me doing it because I like it. And people can do that in other sectors. If you're in the financial sector, if you want to be a trader, why don't you start a little spread account and start using trading with a small amount of money just to get your foot in the door and see what it's about. Whatever sector you want to do, show that you're enthusiastic about it by trying to do something within that sector without being employed.
I definitely agree with have something else going for you. One of the things I did actually was I set up a tutoring firm. Yeah, up in Aberdeen. It's called Go Tutors. You know, while I was, you know, the main guy, was doing very well, making quite a bit of money.
How did you manage that with your studying?
I mean, it was, to start with, for me, it was just sort of easy because I started doing it on my own. It was just a one-man show. I was a maths student, obviously, and I noticed that, you know, kids just related a bit better with me than, for example, maybe an ex-professor or whatever, and stuff. I could sort of bring myself down to a level where they could understand it, you know. And, you know, parents started recommending me, and then, you know, so many parents recommended me that I couldn't do all of them myself. So I got my friends who were in my maths class to teach for me. Just took a cut out of that and just started a business on that. Yeah, in Aberdeen, started it in there in London. Brought it down to London during my holidays, and again, you know, the hardcore approach. I literally started off printing off my own business cards and going to schools on my own, literally handing my business cards to parents and just saying, like, I teach, let me teach your kid. It's quite
really
weird.
Just like that.
it's quite weird, but
like
I got some calls.
Brave and bold.
Yeah.
Gentleman.
Yeah, but of course, you know, I presented myself in a way that people would hopefully have trusted me, and, you know, I got some calls from that, and, you know, set up something that made money, and that's definitely a selling point to a trading firm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just another thing, like, having something going for you, it's not necessarily working. Like, I did boxing in uni.
Boxing?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, like, I won the Scottish Championships up there. And it was something like we spoke about in the interview, because one of my interviewers is like a massive boxing fan.
Really?
So, yeah, just like something just random. I've heard of guys in investment banks getting jobs because they could play golf. So, do you know, like...
So, David, you agree with this? So it's not just about the academics, it's about their soft skills, and it's also about taking all these extracurricular activities.
Absolutely.
So it's like a total package.
It's about building your character as an individual, isn't it? Because the more there is to you, the more value you are to a prospective employer, and that's what it comes down to.
All right. So I think at this point, it's a very good time for us to go on a short break. But don't go anywhere at home, as we'll be back, continuing on with our discussion. See you soon.